So one of the things I changed again is my alternator. If you remember, initially I had a 270 amp hour alternator from M2K in the US. However, I changed it out against a rapid power fully sealed alternator for two simple facts. I didn't really think too much when going 270 amps. And once I then switched to lithium and have lithium as my starter battery and lithium also charged from the alternator, 270 amps for my two 100 amp hour DCS was really borderline what I could do. So I wanted to go a little bit smaller. And even though I don't drive much through mud, unless I really have to, I thought a completely sealed unit like a rapid power would be good. However, the rapid power, while the unit and everything looked pretty good, it really never worked out for me.
Tell us, Stefan, what's happening, mate? What are we doing to the cruiser?
The cruiser got renamed Screechy. Since I have the rapid power alternator in, yeah, it lasts for 3-4 days and then it starts screeching and won't stop for a while. So we had new belts put on in Port Augusta, tighten it again, but over the past 3-4 days it's again loose. So we're trying now to retension that thing and hopefully stop screeching, and then when I'm home I have to find a better solution. Rapid power unfortunately removes the OEM tensioning system for the alternator, and with the rapid power alternator I only had issues with my belt squealing. So I couldn't drive for more than 300-400 kilometers and my belts would be squealing. Then I had to retension the belts, and because the OEM tensioning system was taken out of the loop, you pretty much had only 2 bolts, and then you needed a big lever bar and tension it with 2 people from the engine block. Very cumbersome process. You needed 2 people, and again it only lasted for another 200-300 kilometers. Rapid power initially was good and we tried a few things, but really nothing solved the issue. When I looked more into it, I figured out that the OEM tensioning system you can't take out on these alternators or on the 105. Number 2, I found that the tightening bolt was far too small. I stripped that with a tiny little hand wrench, so that was not a good solution. After giving rapid power nearly a year to come up with a solution, to be honest, I grew a bit impatient. Rapid power also seemed like didn't want to have much to do with it anymore and became fairly unfriendly. So I decided to rip that all out again. So the rapid power alternator is gone and I replaced it with the M2K alternator, which I found quality-wise very good, and I know that they also retained the factory OEM tension system. I didn't go with the 270 amp alternator, I went with a 180 amp alternator, and yeah, that is in. We strengthened the alternator bracket because that is something, or actually the only thing which went wrong with the 280 amp alternator. The bracket broke on the canning trip. That was a little bit matter of how the housing was designed. And to the credit of M2K, I sent them some pictures, and within 2 weeks from M2K I had a new front housing which solved that issue. But anyway, I didn't want to take that risk again, so we strengthened the bracket a little bit, especially because I do a lot of corrugation. And yeah, the 180 amp hour alternator is in, no issue whatsoever. I think on the cruiser, if you run high output alternators, the belts, the 2 V-belts are not the best solution for it. But now I have to tension the belts every service, like it was before really, and I can easily tension it whenever I need myself. It's a matter of 5 minutes really. So yeah, I highly rate them and the customer service of M2K in comparison to what I experienced with rapid power was absolutely brilliant. So that's at idle, that's at high idle. 94 amps going into the 2 batteries, so that's pretty good with the M2K alternator. And we went with the stock 100 amp hour batteries, but that pretty much does everything. They are charged from my M2K alternator. I show you here some figures how much I get in. By the way, that's also one thing. The M2K alternator has far higher idle output than the rapid power. Idling the M2K, I get around 80 amps into the batteries. So that is brilliant. And if the batteries are empty and I drive, I get around 120 amps into the battery. So around 60 per battery. And that means they are charged very, very quickly again.